Hey there, welcome to the human wild, where we step into the raw, untamed past to uncover the stories of our ancestors, those who fought, dreamed, and carved a path for us in a world that wasn't exactly welcoming. Today, we're diving into the epic tale of Homo erectus, a species that didn't just survive, but changed the game of survival itself. Picture a world where danger lurks in every shadow, where every day is a test of wits, and where a small, clever creature dares to stand tall against the odds. That's where we're starting. Deep in the African savanna, 1.9 million years ago, with a storm raging and a figure crouching under a tree, trying to stay alive. The rain is relentless, pounding the earth into a muddy soup. Under a gnarled acacia, a small, soaked creature huddles, barely over a meter tall, weighing less than a modern child. This is Homo habilis, the first of our genus Homo, and they're not exactly built for battle. Their bones are brittle, their muscles weak, their teeth dull. They've got no claws, no fangs, no speed to outrun the lions that prowl the darkness or the leopards that stalk the tall grass. Crocodiles lurk by the streams, ready to snap up anyone careless enough to wade too deep. Every step they take is a gamble, every rustle in the bushes a potential end. They don't have fire to keep the predators at bay, no sturdy shelters to hide in, just a handful of broken stones they grip like lifelines and a few guttural sounds to warn each other. But here's what makes them special. They're not just surviving on instinct, they're learning. Homo habilis doesn't outmuscle their enemies. They outsmart them. They memorize which caves are safe havens and which ones house venomous snakes that'll end you in a heartbeat. They study the ground, spotting the faint claw marks of a leopard or the heavy prints of a hyena before it's too late. When the dry season turns the savanna to dust and food vanishes, they know which roots won't poison them, which berries won't make them sick. They share this knowledge, pointing out safe spots under trees, grunting warnings about the waterhole where a crocodile lies in wait. It's not about being the strongest creature on the plains. It's about being the one who pays attention, who remembers, who learns from every near miss. For nearly 1 million years, they play this deadly game of hide and seek, dodging fangs and claws, not because they're tough, but because they're clever. Now, imagine living like that, waking up each morning knowing something out there wants to eat you, and your only defense is your brain. You're not faster than a cheetah, not stronger than a lion, but you've got a knack for noticing patterns, for sharing what you've learned with your group. That's Homo habilis, holding on through sheer ingenuity. But the world doesn't stay still, and neither does evolution. Around 1.9 million years ago, the savanna starts to feel different. The air carries a new energy, a new presence. A taller, stronger figure steps out from the shadows, not cowering but standing upright, ready to face the world head-on. This is Homo erectus, the bright man, and they're not here to hide. They're here to fight back. Homo erectus is a game changer. They're not just a step up from Homo habilis, they're a leap. Standing up to 1.85 meters tall, their bodies are lean, built for endurance, with dense bones that can take a beating. Their muscles are tougher, their strides longer, but it's their brains that steal the show. Averaging 1.030 cubic centimeters, about 80% the size of a modern human's, their minds are wired for more than just survival. They're strategizing, planning, creating. They don't just pick up random rocks. They craft tools with purpose, hand axes, scrapers, knives, shaped to fit the hand and do the job. They're not scavenging scraps left by predators anymore. They're hunting, chasing down antelopes, rhinos, even dwarf elephants. They move in groups, their steps synchronized, their eyes sharp. And here's the kicker. They discover fire. Not just stumbling across it after a lightning strike, but learning to keep it alive, to use it, to make it their own. This is where the story shifts. Homo erectus isn't just dodging danger. They're taking it on. Their footprints appear far beyond Africa, in Java, China, Georgia, India, Turkey, Vietnam, even Germany. They're braving icy mountains, sweltering jungles, and everything in between. In Africa, their bodies grow tall and robust, built for the open plains. In Asia, they're smaller, lighter, perfect for dense forests. In Europe, their skulls are larger, their faces rougher, ready for colder climates. They're not one species but an evolutionary empire, with over 27 subspecies stretching across 3 continents. For nearly 2 million years, they don't just survive, they dominate, not because they're invincible but because they adapt. Now let's take a moment to soak that in. These are creatures with no natural weapons, no venom, no claws, no speed to match a predator. Yet they're not just holding their own. They're spreading across the world, reshaping it to fit their needs. They're the first to look at a lion and think, "I'm not running anymore." They're the first to see a cold night and decide to warm it with fire. They're the first to stand on a shore, look at the sea, and think, "I can cross that." Homo erectus is the spark of human potential, the moment we stop being prey and start being pioneers. And it all begins with a single discovery, one that turns the scientific world upside down. We're in Java now, 1891, and the jungle is alive with the hum of insects and the weight of humidity. A bearded man in a mud-stained shirt kneels in the dirt, his hands shaking as he holds a dull, curved fragment of bone. This is Eugene Du Bois, a Dutch anatomist who left behind a cozy clinic to chase a dream most people called insane, finding the ape man who walked upright. Back then, the idea that humanity's roots stretched to Asia was a joke. Scholars figured Asia was a logical stepping stone between Europe and America, but they had no proof, just guesses. Du Bois, though, wasn't guessing. He'd spent years digging through the muck, battling fever and doubt, until this moment. The skull fragment in his hands, paired with a long femur nearby, is no ape. It's a creature that stood tall, walked on 2 legs, and lived in a way no one thought possible. He names it Pithecanthropus erectus, the upright ape man, later known as Homo erectus. The world didn't exactly roll out the red carpet for Du Bois. They laughed him off. An ape man in Asia? Ridiculous. He died a disappointed man, his discovery buried with his reputation. But decades later, near Beijing, scientists uncovered dozens of skulls that look eerily like his Java man. These are the Peking man fossils, and they're not a different species, they're Homo erectus, too. Suddenly, the scientific world is stunned. Humanity didn't just sprout in Africa. It was thriving in Asia over 1.5 million years ago, far earlier than anyone imagined. Du Bois wasn't crazy, he was right, and his find rewrites the story of human evolution. This discovery does more than vindicate one man. It shows us that Homo erectus wasn't a fluke. They were global, their bones turning up in the frozen hills of Georgia, the jungles of Vietnam, the plains of Africa, even the forests of Germany. They didn't just wander out of Africa, they conquered the world. But how did they spread so far? 2 theories have been battling it out for years. One says Homo erectus evolved in Africa and migrated to Asia and Europe as the climate shifted, following the grasslands and the herds. The other, wilder idea suggests an ancestral human group might have started in Asia and then moved back to Africa. Fossils from Dmanisi, Georgia, and Lufeng, China are so old 1.9 million years that they make this once outlandish theory hard to ignore. Wherever they began, Homo erectus was a force, adapting to every environment they encountered. Their bodies tell the story of this adaptability. In Africa, they're tall, robust, built for chasing prey across open plains. In Asia, they're smaller, lighter, slipping through dense jungles. In Europe, their skulls are bigger, their faces tougher, ready for the cold. Over 27 subspecies have been identified, each one a variation on the Homo erectus theme, molded by the land they called home. But it's not just their bodies that make them remarkable. It's what they do with them. They're not content to hide or scavenge. They hunt, they build, they invent. They take the raw stuff of the world, stone, wood, fire, and turn it into tools, shelters, even rafts to cross seas. They're not just surviving. They're shaping the world to fit their vision. And that vision is about to take a bold new turn. The sun is scorching the Kenyan savanna 1.5 million years ago, and a herd of antelope sprints across the plain, kicking up clouds of dust. But they're not fleeing from lions or hyenas. They're running from humans. For millions of years, our ancestors were the ones trembling in the dark, hiding under trees, praying the glowing eyes of predators would pass them by. Homo erectus changes all that. They're done hiding. They're the hunters now, and they're not chasing small game. They're taking on hippos, rhinos, dwarf elephants, wild horses, even crocodiles. This isn't scavenging, picking at scraps after a lion's feast. This is deliberate, organized, fearless hunting. Archaeologists have found the evidence. Bones of massive animals piled next to stone tools and traces of ash. These aren't random kills. They're the work of a team.
At Ilal, Kenya,
researchers uncovered fossilized footprints. 20 sets, all adult males, walking in the same direction. Their strides matched. This wasn't a leisurely walk. This was a hunting party, the oldest evidence of coordinated group hunting in human history. Picture it. A line of Homo erectus, stone tools in hand, moving as one, their eyes locked on their prey. They're not just surviving anymore. They're dominating. How do they do it? They don't have the speed of a cheetah or the jaws of a hyena. What they have is endurance. Their bodies are like machines, built not for sprinting but for stamina. They stand tall up to 1.85 meters with long legs, thick tendons, and an S-shaped spine for balance. Their bones are dense, absorbing the impact of endless running. Their sweat glands cool them without panting. Unlike predators that overheat and give up, this is persistence hunting, a brutal but brilliant strategy. They don't need to catch their prey in a sprint. They just keep going, chasing the animal until it panics, overheats, and collapses. Imagine an antelope, bolting ahead, its heart racing. It's fast, but it can't sustain it. Homo erectus, though, doesn't stop. They jog steadily, hour after hour, under the blazing sun. The antelope runs, rests, runs again, but each sprint drains it more. His body temperature spikes, its muscles fail. Meanwhile, Homo erectus keeps coming, relentless, patient. If they land a single wound early, a sharp stone thrown with precision, it's over. The prey bleeds out, too exhausted to escape. This isn't about being the fastest, it's about being the last one standing. But it's not just their bodies, it's their teamwork. Those footprints in Ilaret show they hunted in groups, coordinating their movements, sharing the load. Some track the prey, others carry the tools, a few deliver the killing blow. This is the birth of strategy, of planning, of working together for a common goal. And it's not just the hunt. They're using tools, sharpened stones, not random chips but carefully crafted weapons. These are the first steps towards something bigger. A society where everyone has a role, where survival becomes a collective effort. And that effort is about to spark something even greater. The savannah is quiet now, dusk settling over a dead elephant, its massive body surrounded by Homo erectus. Their hands are busy, not with random rocks but with teardrop-shaped stone axes, sharp on both sides, slicing through hide and bone. They're skinning, carving, scraping marrow, working with purpose. This is the Acheulean culture, humanity's first primitive industry, starting nearly 2 million years ago and lasting for 1.5 million years. These aren't the crude shards Homo habilis used. These are tools designed with intention, hand axes for butchering, scrapers for cleaning hides, awls for shaping wood. Every piece is crafted to fit the hand, sharpened for efficiency. This is the dawn of technology, not just for killing but for logistics, processing hides, extracting marrow, sharpening sticks for digging or defense. To make these tools, Homo erectus needs more than muscle. They need brains. Their cranial capacity, 1.030 cubic centimeters, is a leap forward, and their Broca's area, tied to speech and fine motor skills, hints at something incredible. They're not just grunting. They're planning, maybe even communicating in ways that sound like early language. In Germany, archaeologists found 400,000-year-old wooden spears, finely crafted, balanced for throwing. With shoulders, elbows, and wrists like ours, Homo erectus could hurl a spear far and accurately. Imagine being an antelope, grazing peacefully, only to be struck by a silent, upright creature from 20 meters away. That's a nightmare no prey could prepare for. But it's not just tools or hunting. Homo erectus is building a community. The strong hunt, the weaker stand guard, others gather roots or prepare hides. This is the seed of society, where roles emerge and survival becomes a shared mission. And then there's fire. Picture a cold night in the savannah, predators circling in the dark. A group huddles around a flickering flame, a child tossing in sticks, an elder stirring the coals. This isn't just warmth. It's a revolution. Evidence from Kubifora, Kenya, and Swartkrans, South Africa shows ash, charcoal, and burned bones from over 1.5 million years ago. At first, they harvested fire from wildfires or lightning, but they learned to keep it alive, using dry dung for fuel, building stone windbreaks, sustaining embers through the night. By 400,000 years ago, they're making fire themselves, regularly and widely. Fire changes everything. Cooked meat is easier to digest, unlocking more energy. Light and smoke keep predators at bay. Warmth lets them survive colder climates, opening new territories. Dried meat lasts longer, so they can care for the sick or elderly. But most importantly, fire gives them time. They don't have to run or hide all day. They can sit, share stories, pass on knowledge. Some think this is where language begins, around those first flames, as they point, gesture, and try to explain the world. This is Homo erectus at their peak. Hunters, toolmakers, firebringers, building a world from the ground up. It's a cold wind now, sweeping across a frozen land. 1.7 million years ago in Oldaway, Tanzania, a small shelter of stone, branches, and animal hides stands firm. Inside, the ashes are warm, stone tools neatly arranged in a corner. Homo erectus sleeps, huddled together, safe from the chill. This isn't a cave or a random hideout. It's a stone circle, possibly the earliest architecture we know of. By 700,000 years ago in Germany, they're building winter camps near glacial rivers, centered around carefully maintained hearths. They're not just surviving. They're crafting a life, stitching hides with plant fibers to make clothes. Not fashionable, but enough to block the wind and keep the cold at bay. And then they do something unthinkable. On Flores Island, never connected to the mainland, their bones and tools appear. They didn't swim or drift there. They built rafts, planned food supplies, navigated currents, and set out across the sea. This isn't a fluke. It's humanity's first sailors, over 1 million years ago, organizing voyages that require months of preparation. They're not wandering nomads. They're explorers, planning, stockpiling, moving as a group toward a horizon they can't yet see. But no matter how great they are, no empire lasts forever, and the world is about to change in ways they can't outrun. It's Java 108,000 years ago, and a frail old Homo erectus stands by a dried-up stream. The grasslands where he once hunted are gone, swallowed by a thick, humid rainforest. The dwarf elephants and giant tortoises have vanished, replaced by small, elusive forest animals his tools can't catch. The open plains are now a suffocating canopy, and the fires that once lit the night struggle to burn in the wet jungle. This is the end of Homo erectus, not with a fight but with a slow, silent fade. Across Africa, Asia, and Europe, they vanish, their last refuge a shrinking pocket of Java. The climate shifts, their prey disappears, and their way of life, built on persistence hunting and open spaces, can't survive the dense forest. They weren't killed by war or disease. They didn't lose to a stronger rival. They simply ran out of a world they could live in. But before they go, they leave us a legacy. The first tools crafted with purpose, the first hunting parties that took down giants, the first fires that warmed the night and sparked stories, the first shelters and clothes that defied the cold, the first rafts that crossed seas. They showed compassion, caring for the weak, teaching the young, sharing food. Homo erectus wasn't just a species. They were the blueprint for us. So what ended them? Was it the climate, locking them in a world they couldn't navigate? Was it their own success, spreading them too thin to adapt when the world changed? Or was it an evolutionary limit, a brain that was almost but not quite like ours? They survived for nearly 2 million years. We've been here for just 300,000. Today, our climate is shifting, our technology is racing, our societies are straining. Are we walking the same path? Too confident in our tools and fires, thinking they'll carry us forever? Or will we learn from Homo erectus, adapting before it's too late? This is their story, the bright man, the firebringer, the first sailor. They didn't just survive. They built the world we stand on. So, let's keep their memory alive. Drop a comment. What would Homo erectus think of the world we're building? Share this video to spread their story, and subscribe to The Human Wild for more tales of the ancestors who made us who we are. The past isn't just history. It's a warning, a map, a spark. Let's not let it fade.